I did it again. I pressed the wrong button on my phone because for some reason the pause button and the main button look the same. But there we go. Anyway, I would say I would stitch the two videos together, but I know that's not going to happen. I've tried that before. Anywho, let's check out the rest of the stuff that's been in the pot this week. So my son came over to play resin, as you do, and we made a whole bunch of stuff. So these are some dice that he's made, which I demolded because I wanted to see what they were like. So he's used a blue, a gold, and a pearl, but he's got some sort of greens coming through here. I'm not sure if he put anything else in, but there's some really nice colours coming through in the chunk. And also in these other dice as well, you can see there's some kind of greeny colour going on there. Whilst this may not have been the effect he was going for, they're actually really pretty. More because they're mostly mica in the resin, but they are actually really pretty. I really do like these. So I hope he's pleased with them. And then most of this stuff over here is his too. So we had a little skull mould with top hats on, so he's made a bunch of those. He's also made one of these little keyring things here, and the well, I call it Cthulhu mould. He's made that. He's also done a pendant, which I didn't take the tape off because I wanted him to have that experience. You can see if I hold it that way, there is a little bit of overpour where the tape is. It's quite difficult to get resin in here, and the point at which he was doing it was starting to get a bit thick. And then this is one that I did. This one was quite difficult to do. You can see the tape marks on here, so I am probably going to have to go back and redo this. This side is, there's quite a big dip in this side. And part of the problem was with the tape on the back of the basil, when you pulled the tape around this side, it did not stick. So there was a big gap. So whilst it was on the stand, there was almost nothing I could do about it, watching resin seeping out of the bottom and around here. It's quite frustrating. But what we've put in here is actually really quite exciting. So he bought me some of these. I don't know where he got them from. Ice resin opals. Now this is heavier than glitter, but as you can see, there's lots of different bits of colour of it in here. Let's take the lid off and you can kind of see. So it is kind of like a glitter, but like chunkier, heavier, and flakes of stuff. This is really pretty in here. So I mix some of this in with the resin to make this moon pendant, which has come out beautifully, with the exception of the fact that it came out of the mould, out of the basil. There wasn't a mould. We're still getting to grips with this basil stuff. I need to get bigger bits of tape, I think, is the answer. So that's in progress. We made some more math rocks. What I did, this has got just the nail powder in it. And if I put my hand back there, you can kind of see exactly how shiny this is. It's just gorgeous. So, of course, then you have to have little earrings made of the same as well. Camera's not really focusing on them because it's like, oh my god, there's so much glitter. I don't know what to look at. They are pretty darn awesome. I may just make them into earrings that I myself will wear. Then these, you know, this is a mould that I've had for quite a while now. We've made quite a few of these. They're like little flip coins. And then I had a bit of leftover. And my son had this mould, which is a very tiny, one of those awful moulds that you have to put the stuff in the top, cheapo mould. But I did manage to make this little pip die out of it. It has some of this ice resin fire opal in it. No idea what on earth colour I'm going to paint it. You can see there's a little drop of something else left over in here, and it had obviously a big old void right there where you can kind of see between the two dots there. So I've already started sanding this down because what you get is a flat top, and what you can see here is that these edges are rounded, so you have to round them off yourself because the mould will not do it for you. Yay. But what I was thinking was, why didn't they put the hole above where the one is? Because if there was a void there, which, you know, it looks like there's a void, that would have been perfect. You wouldn't have needed to do anything, but hey-ho, there we go. So I'll kind of get this into a usable state, because why not? It seems like it's going to be okay. It'll probably just be for us to use. It is quite small comparative to a normal D6. It just feels a little bit dinky, but I don't mind that. I think it's cute. I like it. As you can see, he just demolded a chunk. I also did this. This was, again, this wonderful nail powders, and in here there is, I think I put like a greeny one and a reddy one, or a pinky one. So you've got both colours here, and then you've got sort of, one's a colour shift one and one is a standard kind of nail powder that you would put the gel on your nails and then you would put it over the top like a unicorn kind of effect. There is, as you can see in here, there is like a blue inky resin as well, like the Tide, and then also there is mica powder in here as well. So you've got this kind of swirl effect coming around, and the way I've been doing this is, where's the number one face? There we go. What I've been doing is pouring clear resin into the bottom, which is why the 20 is fairly clear. But as you can see, you've got colour kind of coming around from this side and around from this side and around from this side. So what I do is I pour the clear in there and then I just let it sit for a bit. Then I come along with one of the other colours that I've decided to put in my mould, and I pour it down one side. Now, if you're applying with a lolly stick, you can use the lolly stick up against the number face, like up against here on the inside, to just persuade it to run down that face. Now, that's essentially what I'm doing, but I'm waiting till it kind of gets a bit thick so that it takes longer to drop, because it will naturally drop in the pot, because the mica is tiny bit heavier than regular resin, which is what happens here. So you've got this swirl. Now, this colour scheme over here, this is purely happening because I've got the blue resin in here, and then I've also got a little bit of mica powder, and then I've also got these nail powders, which is creating this purple, green, blue effect up here, which is really pretty. And then I just went in with a little bit of white in a similar peachy kind of style, just to drop a little bit in there, just to give it a little bit of something, pull something down the middle. It didn't actually get anything down the middle, but this is a gorgeous dice. I really do like this. And I like how the things are happening in here. These other ones here, much less so. I wasn't quite going for the same method. This was more of a, it didn't look like there was that much glitter in these when I was making them up, I can assure you. But they are probably, that is probably about as much glitter as you can get. This is mostly nail powder in here of varying shades, and blue ink in resin, and then there is another colour in here as well, which you can see just pulling down the side of this dice. So I put some clear in the bottom there, but it's not a huge amount that you can see. A lot of it is mixed in, and then I've gone in with the white again because I like what it does when it hits the other inks, so you get this like tide effect. So whilst these were not meant to be like my other set, like the Salt Marsh set, I was going for a watery, glitzy feel. And let's throw some dice across the table. I don't think I achieved it. They are so sparkly. And no idea what I can ink those with. I'm sure I will find something gorgeous. I'm thinking gold, weirdly, because that one really picks up all these other amazing colours. But anyway, we will figure that one out. Pop some of these bits up here, show me out the way. And then we do have this light bulb, which terrified me a lot. I'm not going to demold it because it's my son's and I really want him to have that experience because I've pretty much demolded everything for him. So the blue, he was concerned, did not look that colour when it was going in, and it seems that after being in the pot and stuff happens and it gets a lot more blue, which is kind of cool. So he used the gold glitter, which you can see is quite heavy and has sunk to the bottom here, and then he put some flakes in as well, which seem to have been suspended a little bit more. I can see some more up here, and you can kind of see some sitting part way down here inside the mould itself. Now, we made this first with a deeper pour resin, a different brand, and as it was sitting on the stand waiting for us to finish the rest of the stuff, the heat coming off this thing was terrifying. As you can see, it does have these little fins, and I was really worried it wasn't going to hold up. But actually, very, very surprised. But we did have to rush through. So a couple of these sets of dice got rushed a little bit just to get them done so we could get them in the pot and I could stop being worried about the fact that this might try to take off or explode or melt the mould. There are probably other things that you could do, like we should have probably done this last. That would have made more sense, but we didn't realise exactly how warm it was going to get. So that's a learning thing. If you're playing with deep pour resin, it is going to kick out a lot of heat quite quickly once you get it in. So if you have other things to do, make those first. There you go, tip of the day. Now, he made a lot of this blue resin, as you can tell. There is a lot of blue resin, so we also have a blue fish, which again, I'm going to leave for him so that he has some of the fun of demoulding. But we do have a set in here, which are inspired by who knows what at the time. Probably the fact that we're already using a lot of blue resin. But we are going to demould these now. So let's take a look. Oh yeah, I used silver flakes in here too. I forgot that. It's very easy to forget what on earth you put in these when we were doing... This is probably the most sets we've done at any one time. Because if I'd been working on my own, I probably wouldn't have done this many sets at once. It would have probably been too much for me. But he was doing... This is with this deep pour resin. And then the ones that I did was with my normal resin that I've been using so far. But we'll berth these right out of here and take a look. So what on earth did I put in here? I put in here silver flakes. But there's like a weird gold thing going. Oh, I know what I did. Actually, I do know what I did. Right, so I was trialing something. So these nail powders, they come in all sorts of different colours. And I wanted to try to see what happens if you tried 2 different colours. So I put in some of this like reddy kind of colour. Which you can sort of see up here. You've got like this reddiness coming through. And then there was the bluey one, obviously. And then there's some pale stuff in here. Now this isn't mica, this is a pale one in here. And then the silver flakes. So the silver flakes pretty much went in. And then I poured a little bit more resin on top. But I wanted to see what effect you got if you tried to separate these 2 different colours. And then there is just a little bit of this leftover opal in here because I think we had a little bit left just in the tub, and I thought, well, I'll just chuck that in there rather than waste it. So let's have a quick look here what we got. The other colour isn't as prominent as I had thought it might be. In fact, it's almost a little bit lost in here. You can just see little bits right there, but the other colours, the blue is quite overpowering, but in the light you can catch it in there. The dice itself is mostly just resin and these different nail powders, but if I put them all up here together and we can take a look at them all together. So there's like this one here is very kind of lilac-y looking on top, and then you've got blue, and then there's this like almost like a black in the middle. I have no idea what that is because I didn't put. Did I? Wait, no, I did. I put. Oh no, I did. I put black into the blue. So when I mixed up the blue, I also mixed in some black, but I mixed it in properly. So some of these darker bits, that's probably just picking up from the light, but there is some kind of in the middle there. It does look like there's something going on in the middle there, which is kind of cool. The foil obviously floats, and I didn't want it all throughout the dice, otherwise I would have mixed it in with the resin. So it's not a mistake that it's on one side. I knew that one side of the dice was obviously going to have more of the blue in the colour because that's what I'd put in first, so I wanted them to be almost different on every face. Not different on every face because that would be almost impossible to do, but that one side would be different to the other side because obviously you got your number 1s up and then you got your 20s down type thing. So I wanted the difference in like almost like a band with the colours. So now I could have done this in different ways. So I could have waited for the resin to set before I put stuff in. put it through the pot, and then poured again. I don't like doing that particularly. I've tried that with chunks, and sometimes what happens is the mould moves a little bit and stuff pours down the side. So that's not my preferred method. It works for other people. I prefer not to use that method. I quite like this. Stick it in the pot and hope and see what happens. The different kinds of nail powders that I've been using, I think I linked them in my last video. In fact, I'm pretty sure I did. They're all kinds of different colours. You can get them from various different places. Online, on Etsy, probably on Amazon, virtually everywhere. Your local nail store probably. And they do all sorts of different things. I was predominantly sticking to blue because we had blue out on the table, which made more sense to stick with the same thing. But I actually quite like these dice. They're different. They're different to anything that I've made so far, and they've got a lot of stuff going on in there. So I'm going to probably take quite a bit of time looking at these. And kind of seeing what colour I actually want to paint the numbers on these, because again we've got a galaxy type effect going on with all kinds of swirls and things, so they're very interesting, these dice here. So that's it for today. This could be the last Tales from the Pot for this year, guys, as it is the, what date is it, 23rd of December. Goodness me, we might be able to squeeze another one in, you never know. The festive period for other people. I really hope it's great for you guys. I hope you have a lovely time with whatever you do, and I hope your families are safe and well. As we know, COVID is still hanging around and affecting many people. Myself, I hope to get some of these finished up, and perhaps in the new year we'll see an Etsy store opening. As I say before, we had a name for our shop, if you like. And we won't just be selling dice, we will be selling some of the other bits and pieces I've made. We have like a whole tray of stuff here of various different bits that I've made. Obviously, skulls and hats are probably not going to sell this time of year, but these are more just fun things. So we have other bits and pieces. But I also wanted to show you something. So way back when I first made my very first dice, this is one of my first dice. Look at him. The colours in here are beautiful. I love this. I don't know why I went for a green and blue and a gold. Pass. But I painted the numbers all different colours because I thought that was kind of funky. But look at those voids. Those are horrendous. That one is actually really quite sharp. And whilst I could fill these, I could. And part of me wants to. Part of me also wants them to stay like this, because it's a constant reminder that you start off with something and it's going to be beautiful because you've made it, you know, but it's going to be less than perfect. But then through a lot of hard work and, you know, investigating stuff, you get things like this, where you've advanced and you've learned and taken on board things that you found out. I think I said in my last video, I found this wonderful lady on YouTube who sanded and polished her Dice Masters, and I have some exciting news for you guys. Yes, indeed. In this packet, there is Dice Masters. That's all you get. That's all you get. Now, they are very freshly done, so they need to sit for a bit. They need to be worked on. They need to be sanded. They need to be polished. I have a lot of info on how to do that. I have my pottery wheel, and it's going to take some time. These are not going to be rushed, but eventually we will have a set of polished Dice Masters. Super exciting. And then what we will do with those Dice Masters is we will start to cast our own molds. Now, that's not to say that these are not going to be used anymore, because they most definitely will, because this font, I just love this font. This is by Druid Dice on Etsy, and they are just incredible, these dice. The font, the make, the mould is so perfect. They clearly take so much care of their masters and creating them. The ones from Crafting Game, pretty good molds again, but you can still see print lines on here from their dice, which means they're not taking as good care of their masters when they're creating them. But it is only seems to be on the 4. Now, to be honest, I would hate sanding and polishing this one as well, but it means that every mould that you get, has these print lines on it. So whilst you normally only have to work on one face, on this one you do have to work on all the faces. But it is the only one in the set that you do have to do that for, to be fair. And the chunks, it just, the mould is beautiful. It's gorgeous. I am a little bit rough with it probably, and it would probably last a lot longer if I was a bit more gentle with it. But I get super excited when I see dice in a mould that need to come out and be birthed into the world and brought into daylight, she says, looking at the drawn curtains. But you get what I mean. I think there's different things you can make moulds from, and this feels different to this. Definitely. This is more kind of stringy feeling, whereas this is definitely more solid. I have ordered some stuff to make moulds with. I need to get special pots and stuff to mix all the stuff up in, because I don't want to cross the stuff that I'm using for making resin with making the silicone moulds up. Now, if you are searching for stuff to make silicone moulds with, and you put in platinum cure silicone, you will get an array of various different things that are related to silicone, but probably not what you're looking for. I'll just pre-warn you. So clearly this kind of silicone is used for a varying amount of things, including dice moulds, but also other things that people may use at the same time. Not probably whilst they're making dice, though. They probably don't use those things whilst they're making dice. That would be weird. But anyway, I can see obviously with all the other moulds there is different things that you can use, but the one that I've gone for is a platinum cure, a platinum stuff. But the dice themselves will be fine. I do not need Inhibit X. I've checked with the seller. The dice just need to fully cure, which will take a few days, but they did only arrive yesterday, so they are still in the packet. I peeked in there, and that's it. So I need to get like a velvet lined box to keep them in once they're sanded and polished and stuff. And once I start doing that, I will update you guys, because I think that'll be fun to see how those are coming along, and give you a little sneak peek of where we get to and all of the horrificness when I start attempting to make my own mould. So we're going to try and get some like a piece of pipe, I guess. I need to get thick tape, and yeah, stuff to mix up in, and then once it arrives, we can give it a go. But yeah, I will update you and let you guys know how that goes. So for now, I won't speak to you before, I don't think. Maths does rock, by the way. Just remember that. And don't be afraid of having too many dice, because I don't think there is such a thing. If you are creating your own dice, or you're making beautiful things, or you've got that basil that you just really want to give a go and you're just not sure, we'd never made these before, just give it a go. Just make sure you're safe about it. Make sure you've got your masks, you've got your PPE, you've got your gloves, that you're washing things up, that you're not tipping stuff down the sink. Very, very important. Do not pour resin down the sink. It is very toxic to aquatic life and probably everybody. Do not do that. Make sure that you clean it up with a rag and you put that in the garbage, in the dustbin or whatever, and be safe whilst you're doing this. If you're sanding wet sand, because you get less dust particles in the air. And this nail powder, you probably don't want to breathe this in just as much as you don't want to breathe in mica powder. Do not even look at a packet unless you have got your mask on, and your goggles probably too, because that stuff will get in your eyes. Believe me, I literally ran out of the kitchen the other day because there was just a puff of mica powder in the air and it scared the crap out of me. So please, if you are taking on projects or something like this, please be super careful. Make sure you have your PPE. It's extremely important, because you can end up with lots of difficulties later in life that you just don't want as a result of making something cool. So I'm going to leave you guys for now. Have a beautiful holiday. Hope everybody creates something cool at least, and yeah, if you guys do, I'd love to check those out too. So thank you for following, thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing, thank you for listening to me rambling about who knows what for who knows how long in these videos this year. The last 4 to 6 months has been a crazy roller coaster of learning all of this stuff and getting us to a point where we can produce things like this. And it's just been immensely supported by you guys. So thank you so much. Oh, that's things falling off the side. Wonderful. There we go. You can't account for these things. Anyway, take care. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.